Hey, it's Dan Morales. This is Homebuyer Radio. This is episode number 133. For the last week, I've taken the first week of a 2-week vacation. And I'm going to continue to do the podcast, obviously, because it's kind of a labor of love. But I'm in the middle of a 2-week vacation, which is always a good thing. Sometimes even as a, driven, loan officer for, 28, 29 years here, even I need to check out and take a little bit of a break, from what I do day in and day out. And that's kind of what I've done the last couple weeks here. So it's been a good thing for me, a good opportunity to kind of refresh myself and recharge myself as we get ready to, kind of finish up the summer home buying season. But what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to skip a podcast episode because I know there's a lot of you that listen to this podcast on a pretty regular basis. There's a number of you that have listened to all of the episodes, which is just, that's actually kind of cool. When I started this podcast back over a couple years ago, you never know if anybody's going to listen. You don't know if it's going to have the impact that it's supposed to have, if it's going to have the reach that you're hoping it's going to have, and that, you really kind of fulfill the goal that you set out to when you started this thing. As I have the opportunity to work with more and more of you, people who listen to the podcast, a lot of you are clients of mine now. And I am super grateful for the opportunity to be able to help you, to be able to share kind of my experience in doing this for the last, 28 plus years. And being able to help you get across the finish line. So what I want to talk about this week, is one of the things I see, all over are just all kinds of ads for mortgages. Whether it's, TV commercials for big national lenders or, even, companies like Zillow now have a mortgage division, if you will, as part of what they're doing. But you see, there's so many different choices for mortgages. And, there's so many different places where you can get mortgage information. And, it's interesting because I'm kind of somebody who's a student of, everything that's out there. So I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of reading on, what our competitors offer. I do a lot of reading to make sure I'm aware of what's kind of going on in the marketplace. But, one thing that is kind of a consistent theme, if you will, is just the amount of information that is out there that is either misleading or it's slanted, in a way that it leads you to believe something that maybe just quite isn't the truth, or may not be the truth for you in your individual circumstances. So, just be cautious, right? There's a lot of sources for information on the internet. There's tons of sources, right? One of the things that we all know, especially those of us who are parents, one of the things that we know is that, we tell our kids, hey, you can't believe everything that you read on the internet or everything you find on the internet. And that's true, right? Like how can you know that you can believe, this podcast, the information? How do you know the information I'm giving you is right? One of the best ways to know that is to check the credentials of the person you're working with. Okay. Now, in my case, this is my 28th year of doing this. I started back in 1991, and it's been 28 years that I've been doing this. Now, just the fact that I've done it as long as I have doesn't necessarily mean that I know what I'm doing, because I can tell you that there's plenty of people who I know that have been in the mortgage business for, 20 plus years. And, many of them are clueless. And what I mean by that is, they were the old dog that couldn't learn a new trick. They didn't keep up with, changes, guideline changes and rule changes, and, just how the industry has evolved. And, they don't know what they don't know, right? So if you happen to work with a loan officer that doesn't know what they don't know, then you could potentially end up with a mortgage structure that is less favorable than what it would have been had you worked with somebody who does know what they're doing. Okay, so how do you know, if a loan officer, has even experience, right? One of the ways you can do that is you can check their NMLS number. Okay, every loan officer has what's called an NMLS number. Okay, and what that is it's a national mortgage licensing system. There is a lookup for the NMLS number where you can actually take your loan officer's NMLS number, you can look it up, and you can kind of see their work history, where they're licensed, their experience, and so on. A lot of times when I'm competing with other lenders, especially when I'm competing with folks who are using, one of these big national lenders, I encourage them to look up their loan officer's NMLS number, because you'd be surprised at how many of these guys, were working at Applebee's 6 months ago, and now they're the person that you're going to entrust your mortgage decision to, right? So they don't know what they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know if you don't do a little bit of research on the person you're working with. So, look at their NMLS number. In my case, my NMLS number is 709729. So again, it's 709729. But you can see all of my work history. If you see a loan officer that is constantly changing jobs, every 6 months to every couple of years, that should be a huge red flag to you, because that means that in many cases that lender hasn't been successful at any one individual place, and so they keep changing jobs in hopes that they can, still keep their head above water, if you will. Okay. In my case, you'll see that I've had, 4 or 5 different jobs in my, 28 years. Every time I've changed jobs, it's been because the bank that I worked for got bought. And the new bank that acquired us is one that didn't understand mortgage banking or culturally didn't fit us. Okay. So that's one way that you can do a little bit of research in a loan officer. The other way I always encourage folks to do some research is look at their individual reviews, okay? Not the reviews for their company, but the individual reviews for their individual loan officer. Now, they should be able to point you to reviews that are specific to them. Now, in my case, I have, I think it's north of 100 reviews on Zillow, and we just started having clients write reviews for us on Google. In the case of the last, probably, I'd say month and a half or so, we picked up about 10 reviews on Google, and we're hoping to continue to grow that number. It just helps people to be able to know that we do actually deliver on what we promise, and that, we are people who, know what we're doing, okay? So, do some research on the individual loan officer's reviews, not the reviews of their company, and check out their NMLS number, because oftentimes you'd be surprised to find that people who are giving you advice are people who either don't have a lot of experience, or they're people that, even if they do have, a fair amount of time on the job, if you will, they don't necessarily know what they're doing. So how do you know if I know what I'm doing? Well, if I'm on episode 133 and I seem to never have a shortage of content to come up with, that should tell you that that's because I deal with a lot of clients, and I deal with a lot of clients very successfully. But I try to help clients navigate through problems that they don't even realize they have sometimes. So that's, just, listening to this content, I think very clearly demonstrates that I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. But if you don't believe that, check out my NMLS number, go through and check out my reviews. And here's the thing is, as long as I've done this, there hasn't always been a source for being able to, write a review online, right? It's relatively new, if you will. But I have a couple of binders. I have like 2 4-inch binders of positive customer feedback letters, thank you cards, notes, and stuff like that I keep, in my desk. One of these days, I might digitize some of that stuff and actually start putting it out on the website, because it just shows a track record of happy and successful clients for north of, probably 25 years. So that's stuff that's really important to us. It's important to us that our clients are happy. We go out of our way to make our clients happy. And there are some cases where, we solve problems for clients that they don't even know they have. And we don't always, if you will, point out to them the problems they have, because we just want them to have a quick, fast, and as painless as possible mortgage process. And sometimes that is certainly easier said than done. So do a little bit of research, but if you want to save yourself a whole lot of time, okay, I know it can be really appealing, to, I'll just go on this website, I'll fill out the information, and I'll get a quick pre-approval letter. Well, oftentimes that pre-approval letter isn't worth much, especially in the case of certain big national lenders. A lot of times, if you're working with a realtor and you're going to write an offer and you're going to present an offer that's coming from one of those big national lenders, you are at a competitive disadvantage to somebody who has a pre-approval letter from a well-known, respected, and good qualified mortgage lender. All things even, your pre-approval letter from that big national lender going going against a well-respected local lender, 9 times out of 10, you're likely going to lose. So it's really important that you have a good, qualified lender to work with that knows what they're doing, that has the background and expertise. I've worked with clients all throughout the United States. We have clients that win offers time and time again because once I have an opportunity to talk to the realtors as part of the transaction, they quickly understand that we know what we're doing, we're going to get the job done, and we're going to take good care of their client. So if you're looking to save yourself some time and some hassle in this process, just reach out to us. My name again is Dan Morales. I'd love to have the opportunity to work with you. Now, I won't be back in the office until August 5th. So if you need something before August 5th, you can always make an online application on our website. I have an awesome team behind me that is there to get the ball started and get things rolling for you. But we'd love to help you get pre-qualified, get pre-approved. That way, as you kind of get into this home buying process, you know exactly what to expect, as you kind of go out there and start looking at homes and good stuff like that. Now, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start to talk a little bit more about, pre-approval versus pre-qualification, and just a lot of misunderstandings that people have as part of the pre-approval process, in the weeks to come. And I think it's going to help to maybe clear up some things and hopefully help you to have maybe some better expectations as to what to expect in this process. Okay. Hey, again, my name is Dan Morales. I go by Dan, America's Mortgage Man. You can find me online at danmorales.com. That's DANMORALEZ.com. My NMLS number is 709729. My phone number is 616-931-4629. And of course, North Point Bank is an equal housing lender.